Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. With the holidays in full swing and the market, being the market, I thought it'd be the perfect time to explore something that always seems to be on everyone's mind, especially today, December 24th, 2024.
I know exactly what you mean, the psychology behind all those market ups and downs.
Exactly. And to get into all that, we're going to dive deep into Psychology of a Market Cycle, which is this fascinating text that breaks down those emotional forces that impact, well, pretty much everything.
It really does.
So consider this your mission, listeners. By the end of this, you'll have a better understanding of not just the market's crazy waves, but also how you personally react to them. And that, my friends, is crucial for making smarter choices, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head there. It's interesting, we often talk about markets like it's all numbers and charts and, fancy economic indicators. But if you really strip it all back, what you're left with are good old-fashioned human emotions driving a lot of the decisions.
So you're saying our emotions are just as influential as, like, a big economic report?
Exactly. Things like fear, greed, hope, even despair, they all play a huge part. Think about the phases of a market cycle,
Right.
The accumulation, the markup, distribution, markdown. Those phases aren't just driven by cold, hard logic. Each one has this whole psychological component attached to it.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you correctly, understanding these cycles isn't about, like, trying to predict the exact top or bottom of the market. It's more about understanding the emotional landscape and where we are in it at any given time.
Precisely.
Okay, can we give an example like how fear plays out in a downturn? I think everyone listening has felt that at some point.
Oh, absolutely. Think about a time, any time, really, when the market was going down, correcting itself, or even in a full-blown bear market.
Oof, yeah.
Our text, Psychology of a Market Cycle, it talks about how fear, raw fear, can actually lead to panic selling.
Makes sense.
People get scared, they want to get out before things get worse, but then that very act of selling actually drives prices down even further, creating this, self-fulfilling prophecy.
That's like that whole herd mentality thing, right? You see other people running for the exits, you don't even know why, but suddenly you're running too.
That's exactly it. It's a powerful force, but I do have to ask, isn't some fear healthy? I mean, where's the line between being cautious and straight up panicking?
That's a great question. How do you see it?
Well, it's definitely a balancing act. Prudent caution, that's all about assessing your risks, having a plan, and sticking to it.
Right.
Panicking, that's when you ditch the plan completely and let your emotions drive the car. There's also this thing called anchoring bias that kicks in.
Anchoring bias, what's that?
So basically, we tend to get fixated on a certain price, maybe what we paid for a stock, and we become really averse to selling it, even if logic tells us we should.
Oh my gosh, I'm so guilty of that. Holding on for dear life, hoping it'll go back to that, magic number.
It happens to the best of us.
But hey, it's not always about fear, is it? What about when the market is, like, on fire and going up, up, up?
Yes. Then we see the opposite, this kind of overconfidence and greed taking over. Psychology of a Market Cycle talks about how these emotions, they actually fuel speculative bubbles.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
People are buying just because they see other people making money. And FOMO, the fear of missing out, that kicks in big time. They ignore the fundamentals, they chase the hype, and that, my friend, is how we get irrational exuberance.
It's crazy, right? That's when we see these wild valuations and stories of people, quitting their day jobs to become day traders, thinking they've cracked the code.
Right, but as we all know, it never lasts forever.
Then a sugar rush.
Exactly. And what I find so fascinating is that these individual emotions, yours and mine, they can actually create these market-wide trends.
So we're all connected.
In a way, yes. One person's fear or excitement might not move the needle a whole lot, but when you have thousands, millions of people feeling the same thing, that's when we get those wild swings. It's the collective psychology of the entire market.
That's kind of amazing when you think about it.
It is. The key takeaway here is that even though it feels chaotic sometimes, these patterns repeat themselves.
History doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. So how do we use all of this to our advantage? I mean, give us the practical steps here. What can listeners do?
Okay, well, the first thing, and I can't emphasize this enough, is self-awareness. Recognize your own biases. Are you overly optimistic right now? Unduly pessimistic? Understanding your emotional state in the moment, that can help you make clearer choices.
Hold on. Are you saying every single market move is purely emotional? Don't things like, interest rates or how well that company's doing, don't those matter at all?
Of course they do. Economic factors, fundamentals, they absolutely play a crucial role. But investor sentiment, which is driven by emotions, that often amplifies or distorts how we react to the information. It's like we're looking at the same data, but through different colored glasses.
That makes a lot of sense.
Hmm.
So self-awareness is key. What else can we do?
Well, the text also really stresses long-term thinking. Don't get caught up in the day-to-day noise of the market, those short-term swings. Focus on your overall goals and strategy. And then, of course, manage risk. Know your own tolerance, diversify your portfolio, and maybe think about strategies like dollar cost averaging.
Could you explain dollar cost averaging really quick for anyone who's not familiar?
Sure. Instead of investing one big lump sum all at once, you spread it out over time, buying a little bit regularly, no matter what the market is doing.
Oh, okay.
That way, you're not putting everything in when the market is super high, and you're actually buying more when it dips. Helps smooth out those emotional roller coasters.
So it's like we're taking the emotion out of it as much as we can.
You got it.
All right, so big picture. Market psychology, it's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
We need to understand it so it doesn't end up ruling us.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And it's something we all have to keep learning about, for sure.
Definitely an ongoing journey. Well, folks, that about wraps up our deep dive into the wild world of market psychology. But before we let you go, here's a little something to ponder. Knowing what you know now, how might you approach your next investment decision differently? And maybe even more interesting, how else do these cycles, these emotional swings, play out in other parts of your life? It's everywhere, if you really think about it. Lots to chew on, right? Until next time, everyone.
See you then.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.